On today's episode, my guest and I discuss why personal branding is so important for professionals and how you can rebrand yourself within the same industry. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the Powerful Personal Brand podcast, where my guest and I share tips to help and inspire you to build a great personal brand. I am your host, Claire Bahn, and on today's episode, I am very excited to be joined by Nakia Gray. Nakia is an intellectual property attorney, business strategist, podcast host, and founder of Locked and Lawyered. Love that name. She has been named top attorney by Super Lawyers magazine 4 times, but she's not just an attorney. She loves to speak on topics like practicing law in the digital era, personal branding, intellectual property theft, and running a heart-centered empire. Nakia is a proud wife, mom, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority alum, and founder of the Beyond the Bar Institute. Nakia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Claire. I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too. Your bio, amazing. So tell me about your journey to get where you are today. I'd love to learn that.
Sure. So I probably from first or second grade was told from my teachers that I should grow up and become a lawyer. So it was something that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to go to law school and to become a lawyer. So when I went to college, here's the thing. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, even go to college. So I don't come from a family of lawyers. So I actually thought that I would go to undergrad and graduate as a lawyer until my advisor said, no, ma'am, this is just a bachelor's and then you'll have to go to law school. And I was like, another 4 years of school? No way, I'm not doing it, right? So I switched. And although it turned out to be a great thing, I switched to marketing and I graduated with a marketing degree instead. So after undergrad, I went into the fashion industry. I was an assistant buyer and I was promoted very quickly to being a buyer. And I loved marketing and, copy and all of those things and the fashion industry. And then we had 2001 and the economy took a tank. And so it was a little difficult to really overcome that. And because I live in the DC area, which is not known as being like the fashion capital, right? So it's like if I didn't stay with my current company, then I needed to either move to LA or New York, and that just wasn't in the cards for me. So I decided to go back to law school. And that's how and even then I didn't know that I didn't go to law school thinking I would be the type of lawyer that I am now. I thought that I would be a litigator. And that is what I did for quite some time. Initially, after law school, I was a heavy litigator in court, wearing suits and, nude lipstick and nail polish. I was like a very boring lawyer for a long time. And then I just really wanted to get into the online space. And so I rebranded myself and here we are, 9 years later.
That's amazing. No, I love that you have experience, because I feel like a lot of times, like, yeah, people don't really have experience in marketing. I mean, I know I started marketing. I went and I became an actress and I kind of came back to it. So kind of similar, but different things but all led to kind of where we are today. So I love that story. That's amazing. And it feels like you're kind of like authentically you right now. Would you say that that's true?
It is. And that's such a relief. When I worked at the firm, I worked at a law firm and I was constantly, not being myself and trying to fit into this box. I couldn't wear pink polish. You had to wear navy blue or black. You had to wear a suit. And it was just so not me, so not me. And so now that I get to just show up as my authentic self, my clients love me. My audience connects with me for that reason. And it just feels, it's a great space.
Yeah. I remember when after I graduated from college, I moved to New York, and I remember one of my first jobs and I was working with a headhunter, and she was like, you should wear makeup. And I'm like, I am.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I'm wearing makeup right now, and it's just not in my DNA to wear like heavy colors, or it's always natural.
I'm in a full face of makeup right now.
Yeah.
And I don't really look like it.
Yeah. So that's just who I am. And so I was kind of like, so the fact that I can be authentically me is just like, I'm so excited because no one's going like,
It's the
you should be
best.
putting more, lipstick on. You're this kind of thing. And yeah, I just remember being in the
Yeah.
corporate world and being like, I just want to rock purple nail polish right now. And
Yes.
being a little kind of like, I don't know if that's the right, even though I was in marketing, it just kind of like, is this the right way to do it? And now I'm not right now. I do like my nude. I do like my nude nail polish, my kind of pinky, milky. Yes, we're both rocking the
We
milky
are
pink.
twins.
But yeah, I feel like we were kind of in the same, like I was in New York around the same time. And right, this is like, so right. They talk about in Devil Wears Prada. Yes. Always gotta have there's nothing like the milky nude color, but sometimes I just want to rock purple and now I can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to find out, like, how would you describe your personal brand now? Like now that you're authentically you, how would you describe your personal brand?
Well, I think that I am, and I'll just say what clients say. It's like, it's a girlfriend, when I meet with clients and we're talking about, and let's be clear, I don't have the most sexy career, right? I'm not talking about, really sexy things that people wake up ready to talk about, contracts and trademarks and intellectual property. And so when I meet with my clients or even potential clients, they say, that just felt like I was just talking to a friend. Like, we can talk and I try to make things as relatable as possible. And that's really, I think, part of my personal brand. I'm very big on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And on TikTok, I do a lot of taking what's going on in pop culture, what's going on in entertainment news, all of the IP stories, and just bringing
Mm-hmm.
them to people. And so a lot of people feel like, oh my goodness, you just made that so relatable. So I would say relatable is for sure part
That's
of my
awesome.
personal brand.
Yeah, no, that's so timely. Like, right, people just want kind of relatability. They don't want, I mean,
Yeah.
and here's the deal. If you want kind of like more stuffy and all that kind of stuff, you're going to find your person and they're not going to be yours.
Yeah.
So that's just great that you're like, this is me and take it or leave it.
Yeah, and when I meet with someone, because in these days, a lot of times people, by the time they're talking to you, it's not their first interaction with you, right? They've either signed up for your email list or they've watched your TikToks or, read your posts or read your blog. And so I never wanted people in that first meeting to be like, who is this girl? I
Mm-hmm.
wanted them to feel like you're exactly how I thought you would be.
Yeah.
I say the same things, right?
Yeah.
And so that was important to me because I've had people that I've met, in a discovery call, and I'm like, your online persona is nothing like this. You're actually not that interesting. you know,
Yeah.
you can tell when certain people have copywriters or someone
Yeah.
who is, ghostwriting for them, and you meet them and you're like, you're a total snooze fest. I would not have signed up for this call if I knew that this was really you. So I
Yeah.
never want people to feel that. I want them to feel like when they meet me, it's just an extension, or they feel like they already know me.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I actually had a client, and we are in our first initial meeting. I remember her going like, "You look exactly like your photos." She's like, "You don't retouch
That's
your
another
photos,"
thing.
and I'm like, "No, I don't believe in it." I show up, I
Yeah.
put makeup on, but yeah, this is me.
Claire, I have to tell you a funny story. So I went to this conference. I'm in this online community with a lot of women entrepreneurs, and there was an in-person event in January. And we're so excited. You've built these relationships for years with people. I did not recognize anyone. It's like people, and so someone made a joke in like the forum. They're like, I feel like I've been catfished by y'all.
I love that. Oh my god.
People are not showing up as their authentic selves. And so people say that to me. I mean, people stop me all the time. Even my fam, like my husband and my kids are like, leave us out of your social media, because people are like coming up to them like, are you Nakia's husband? Are you Nakia's son? Are you Nakia's daughter? And so I look exactly the same. And, but that's a thing. It was so funny at that conference. People looked so completely different from.
Well, you see all those like filters, like kind of the
Yeah,
Kardashian thing, right? The eyes popping.
absolutely.
You look like a doll, and you're just like, I don't know. It's just so weird. I see some of those things where they
It's
take like
weird.
celebrities who are just naturally usually pretty good looking, and they're like putting them into these like Instagram filters, and you're just like,
Yeah.
that's just, I don't know. We don't need that. I mean,
We
seriously,
don't.
enough. there's so much stuff that you've got the children, like there's so much that they're seeing every day with social media
Yeah,
and comparing themselves. We don't need that either. I
absolutely.
feel like that
I
could be a
have a
whole
love-hate
other
relationship.
podcast.
It is. It is. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, so okay, so a lot of people talk about like niching down when they're building your personal brand. How did you
Yeah.
decide upon this current niche that you have, that you're working with?
You know, they chose me, right? I didn't choose the game chose me, right?
That's
So
amazing.
when I decided to make this leap into online, and I'll be honest, I knew that I wanted an online business. I had no idea what that business was going to be. I just knew, my husband and I had decided my daughter was starting high school and she really wanted to be homeschooled. And we knew that as a family, that was something that we needed to do. And by I mean me. I needed to
Okay.
homeschool her. And there was just no way I could continue to be a litigator having the trial calendar that I had. So I was like, okay, I need to start an online business. And I was prepared at that time to walk away from the law altogether
Hmm.
and to just become some other, sell t-shirts. I didn't know what it was going to be. I enrolled in Marie Forleo's B School, which, teaches you about starting an online business. And halfway through, Claire, I still have no business. I'm just in this course learning and I'm like, okay, one day it's going to come to me. And so many women in this in her community were having all these legal issues. They had clients that weren't paying them. They had people that were, ripping off their content. They didn't know if they needed a trademark or a copyright. There were all these legal issues. And I had this aha moment, like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to still be a lawyer, but I'll be a lawyer for these online entrepreneurs because they don't know what the heck they're doing. They need a
Mm-hmm.
lawyer. And that's
That's
how, I
amazing.
mean, it literally, that's exact. I wish I had a better story, but that's exactly
No,
how it happened.
I actually, you were saying that we're like twins, but I feel like we have such similar stories in that way because that's exactly how it happened with me. I kind of got into personal branding because I personally branded myself for acting
Yeah.
because I knew how to do it. And then, then actors came to me. And then I started another business where we personally branded people for LinkedIn and online dating. I know you may not think about that, but then, and then I was actually meeting with an angel investor, and he literally was like, "You need to, basically personally brand CEOs, executives." That was in 2019. He was the one that was like, this is where you need to be." And then that kind of just started it. So sometimes when they organically kind of happen, that's when it's
Yeah.
actually, I feel like a lot of people, I definitely saw a lot of people 2020, everyone's sitting at home, no one knows what to do. I'm going to get into
Yeah.
marketing because it's so
Yeah.
easy. You're like, and
And
most
it's
of
so
them aren't,
not.
and most of those people aren't there anymore,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah.
that,
And
go ahead.
for me, the branding was so important because I had been known for years. I had been a heavy litigator, and I was good, Claire. I mean, I was a great litigator, right? And
Yeah.
so, and that's wonderful, right? But this world that I'm in now was so completely different. So I knew, and this is where that coming up in the fashion industry and retail taught me. I knew that anybody can be anything they want to be if they brand themselves and market themselves properly, right? And so I knew for me to make this transition from being this traditional courtroom lawyer to gain the trust of people, I had to brand myself, and the online space is so much about connection, and so
Mm-hmm.
I had to seriously like dig down deep in my branding soul to show up because in order for people to trust me and for me to make that transition, the brand was everything. It was so
Mm-hmm.
important for me. It was like do or die. Because if I
Yeah.
didn't do it right, I would be somewhere, I don't know, flipping
Yeah.
burgers or something. I don't know.
Well, but you were saying that you can brand yourself to be anything, but you do, I believe, and I think you probably agree, but you have to obviously have the experience. I think that's what people are saying.
Yes,
Like, I'm a marketing
there's got to be
professional,
some connection. Yeah,
right? Like, but they have
some
no experience
story.
in it. Exactly.
Yeah,
But true, like lived experience, not just like I
yeah,
made it up one day.
yeah,
That's just
yeah,
me.
yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
so, okay. So you talk about how important personal branding is not just for lawyers, but like professionals in general. Like, tell me why you
Yeah.
think that.
Well, I think that now more than ever, there's a no like and trust factor, and people are no longer willing. First of all, there are so many options for
Mhm.
everything, right? There's like a million. You Google anything and there's like 500 options. And what separates one from another, it's the brand, because I can go on Amazon and, search magnetic lashes. That's my
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
And there's going to be a million of them. And so what is it, that a lot of times the decision to whether as to whether or not someone's going to purchase comes down to the brand. Who do they align with? Whose values do they align with? Who is
Mhm.
showing up in a way? It's not always about aesthetics. That's
Mhm.
another thing. A lot of times people think that it's the prettiest, and
Yeah.
that gets you some points, right? I'm not
Yeah.
going to say that it doesn't, but at the end of the day, who do I genuinely connect with, and that's who's going to get my business. And that makes price almost a non-factor, honestly,
Yeah.
because I've made a connection with the brand.
It is because I often talk to people about that because so many people are so focused on like, their personal brand statement or their website or
Yeah.
their photos or something like that. And I'm like, no, the most important thing I truly think is like video and things like that, things that show you speaking and it shows your passion. And you were talking about how you're really, you've done a lot with TikTok,
Yeah.
and that actually shows who you are and the fact that
And
you
that
can
allows the connection.
exactly. So you
Mhm.
can be a little bit more messy and, learn because I know that TikTok is like kind of one of those things where there's like all these people on it kicking ass and taking names and you're like, oh, how do I even do that? How do I make a TikTok? But you just got to get in there
Yeah.
and do it. I mean, do you find that where people are just like, I'm so scared. All these other people out there, they're so much further ahead than me. I'm just kind
Yeah.
of scared to just jump in the pool.
Yeah, and I think that's why I gravitated to TikTok, is because it's like the only platform that I can remember, where maybe Periscope, when Periscope was around, but the only platform where there's no getting ready, there's no
Mm.
need to have any, it's not curated. It is authentic. It is raw. Like,
Hmm.
there's so many, I mean, the best content on there is get ready with me content. It's like
Hmm.
bare face, putting on your makeup, lying in bed. As soon as you wake up, I mean, you may have like, eye booger is still in, and people are still going to connect. You
Yeah.
could go viral, right? And so I
Yeah.
think that I would say to anyone, and I say this to my clients, anyone who is scared, that's probably where you want to go, because you can truly be yourself and no one's going, people are more interested in making the connection, hearing what it is that you have to say, and not what you're putting on, right? There's
Hmm.
no need to do that. And I think that the quicker you can get to that place of relatability, people trust you, are buying into what it is that you're doing. And now now you got to have the credentials, because now they're going to
Hmm.
go to the next. But if you don't have those things, then you're not even
Right.
going to get the opportunity
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
show that, because they're just not, it just, something just feels, a little off. And I think that I will say, aside from getting the business, also the work is more rewarding when I am attracting my people, like how you and I
Hmm.
are, like, I feel like totally vibing right now because
Hmm.
we're similar. That's the good thing about me being who I really am, is that there's somebody that sees me and they're like, oh my God, this girl gets on my nerves, and they never call. And guess what,
Right.
Claire? Great.
Bye. See ya.
So I spend my days, I don't have one client that gives me a headache. I don't have one client that I don't want to work with, because somehow I am attracting all my folks. My
Hmm.
peeps are coming to me. And
Hmm.
so, and that's a great space. Like, I want to
Yeah.
work with people who light me up and who I light them up,
Yeah.
And when you are authentically you're really, some people think, well, um you're being too niche, or you're turning away business, you're missing out. And I
Hmm.
just so disagree with that. I think you're not. I think it's more, my life is more enriched by my ability to attract people who are my people.
Yeah. I think that that's like one of the things that when I've worked with business coaches and people like that, like they always kind of say, like, there are so many, instead of kind of worrying about your competition, like, oh no, I don't know, I don't want to compete. I'm scared, and kind of looking at it as a way to not jump in and do what you do. Instead, look at it like they're not you. They don't have your
Yeah.
experiences. They are not going to attract the same people as you. They're just different. And there's room
Yeah.
enough for everybody. I love that. So like, whenever we kind of, what kind of branding tips would you give, like, give the audience, about, building their brand, protecting their brand? Like, what are some tips that you would give?
Well, I would say first, just really spend some time being true to yourself and defining for yourself, who are your dream clients or your dream customers. What I just described in terms of, just how I get so lit up by the people that I work with. Figure out who that is for you, and do some research in that to see, where are they, what music are they listening to, what social media accounts are they following, where are they hanging out, so that you can first see if that even aligns with you, what
Mm-hmm.
they believe in. I think that that's really important because, again, I just feel so strongly that the connection is so important. And it's hard for you to connect with people that you don't really know. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also hard for you to connect if who the people that you think you may want to work with, if a lot of their values don't align with yours, it's better for you to not try to force that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
be who you really are, and kind of get that figured out. And then when it comes to, moving into some of the more aesthetic pieces of the brand, so whether it's the name of your company, the name of your signature program, and all of those things, I could not, as an intellectual property attorney, not stress the importance of protecting your brand, and also making sure that your brand is not in any way infringing on someone else's. And so, taking the time to speak with an attorney, do some name vetting, do some trademark searching, even if you're, just starting out and you're not certain that you want to necessarily file for a trademark, you still have a responsibility to make sure that you are not infringing on someone else's. And I cannot tell you how many people don't fully understand that.
Hmm.
And I've had lots of clients that have, hundreds of thousands of followers and get hit with a cease and desist letter that they have to change their name.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Wow.
major hit to your brand because it calls into question your authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
You were this one day, we've known you in this way, and now tomorrow you're something different. And that, to me, is just it's one of those things, and you'll never know exactly how much that can cost you. So it's much better to be on the offense and to know that you own it.
Well, I mean, so I just, because you were talking about that, like, I know that I like, there's certain programs and things that I have. I went and got the domain. Isn't owning the
Yeah.
domain like a big key part of the IP? Like, kind of owning that.
No, it's not.
Really?
Really? Yeah, because the domain, and that's a great question because I have a client, we literally just got their trademark and someone else has the domain. Under the law, you cannot have a domain for someone else's trademark. For example, if I wanted to, let's say somehow Nike forgot to renew their domain, I
Uh-huh.
can't just go and get the Nike domain because
Mm-hmm.
I can't have a domain and use a domain that could cause confusion with customers by of a trademark brand. So
Okay.
having the domain means absolutely nothing. That is not.
But if you got the domain first and branded it first, does that help? Or should you
No.
really trademark it?
You should at least do a trademark search to make
Okay.
sure that no one
I'm
else
like
has
literally writing
that.
this down.
Write this down, Claire.
I know.
Before you settle on a name for your domain, event, podcast, program, business, whatever it is that you sell, you should do a trademark search. And I have a free guide that I walk you through how to do this, and I can
Okay.
give you that link,
Yeah. And
so
we'll
that you
make sure
have
to
it.
put it in the description box for everyone listening and watching. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Amazing.
you want to do this process to make sure, is this name even available? Is this something I can use? So you want to
Hmm.
do that first, and then you can get your domain, and then you can trademark. But you want to do the search first.
Well, You heard it here, folks. I just learned something too. Nakia, this has been like, wow, that kind of like blew my mind. Okay, I've got some homework. I will definitely be doing that. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
So,
you're welcome.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you asked that question. It was a great question.
Me too, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, why not? Sometimes I'm like, I wait. Sometimes I'll tell the audiences. I do sometimes wait to ask questions that are very personal. Sometimes after, but then I was like, there's probably somebody this will benefit too. So I'm glad I asked.
Absolutely.
So, Nakia, this has been such a fun conversation. It was so great to meet you. And where can our audience find you? Where can they connect with you?
Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Truth Bomb. I don't do that much on LinkedIn, but if that's your jam, you can find me there. And my username is the same on all three of those, at Nakia Gray ESQ. My favorite platform, though, as we've talked about, is TikTok. And that's where you'll really see all the fun stuff that I put out. And my handle on TikTok is Your Small Biz Attorney.
All right. Well, and we'll have all the links, and we'll have the link to that that download that you talked about to help you with the trademark search. We'll have the link there as well. Awesome. Nakia, thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah. And thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.